How do you feel like these guys have been able to come together as a team so far?
We feel probably as strong as about the team chemistry right now as we have in a long time. We had a really productive summer. The month of June was all about getting better athletically, learning, picking up parts of the scheme that we wanted to install for scrimmage purposes, and then heading into August camp. But I think we had a team camp at Shrine, a couple nights, a few days, 5 practices, 6 practices, and we were really excited about how the team gelled. We had a lot of fun, a lot of good kids. We got a lot of strong leaders. And that was evident when the kids voted for captains. You could see there's a lot of different names that were mentioned as voted for captains. So between the team camaraderie and the leadership, we're excited about where we're at.
When you look back on last season, getting back to Lucas Oil Stadium, this time in Class 3A, how did last year's finish, just knowing how that game ended against Heritage Hills, how did that fire up these guys, just knowing there's still some unfinished business heading into this season?
That was the first thing that we addressed before we started our workouts in January. Was if you're going to win a 3A state championship, that team that you lined up across from, that they laid the blueprint. They were big, they were physical as heck, they were strong. Those kids lived in the weight room, they lived on the wrestling mat, they lived on the track, and they wore us down last November. With that said, I like to think that we have turned a corner with this group coming back from last year. We got some new faces in the freshman class. I think 1 or 2 transfers, but they've picked up on the expectations that we have here daily, both in the weight room, in the film room, and then on the practice field here on the track. We're just a lot of speed work, a lot of work in the weight room. Hopefully it pays off, but if the kids continue to work, with the sense of urgency that we've had, when we get to, hopefully we're playing ball in November, we get to that point, hopefully we can see the hard work pay off in terms of our endurance and what kind of physical shape we're in at that point of the year.
Just knowing some of the guys you've got back defensively, the Taylors, McHale, Braden Migrant as well, how do you hope that unit can really set the tone this season, especially knowing a lot of the experience that they've brought in the past?
Yeah, when you look at the strengths of this team, you're going to look at the returning defensive players. We have 5 or 6 returning starters from last year's team, and then behind them, there's 3 or 4 kids that started more than 1 week last year and provided some really solid depth. Championships are won with defensive football and the run game, being able to control the ball and take care of the ball. And, we're hoping that that's going to be our keys to success, because we really like the experience that we have on the defensive side and on the offensive line. We've got 4 kids coming back from last year's state finalist team that started on the offensive line. We've got a couple new kids that I think are just going to be, they're ready to go. It's big, strong, agile. And then, a couple position changes. We kind of loaded up our end positions. We feel like we've got a lot of depth and a lot of experience up front on both sides of the ball. And then, that defensive experience definitely, you got to kind of lean on that, especially early on, while you offensively got a lot of young, skilled players, a lot of talent, but a lot of young kids that may take some time for them to adapt to Friday Night Football.
I was going to say, that kind of leads into my next point. What is the offense looking like right now, just knowing you've got a lot of faces to replace, and it looks like you've got another decision to make with a quarterback coming up this fall?
Yeah, we've got a couple sophomore quarterbacks competing for a position. You have a couple sophomore running backs competing for a position. A couple sophomore receivers competing for a position. It's actually exciting to think about because they're not going to be walking in with an offensive line that they played with at the freshman level not even a year ago. They're going to be behind some big, experienced kids that are physical, that want to push some people around. We'll see if we can actually do that. But when you've got a core of kids up front that can help establish a run game and can push people around, That should ease a bit of the nerves, especially early in the year with kids who are new to Friday nights again, with the ball in their hand on a Friday night. It's a lot different than a Monday or Thursday night. So, hopefully, if all goes to plan, we'll ride the offensive line, and hopefully the pass game will develop off that.
If there's one thing you guys need to focus on these next couple of weeks to make sure you are ready to play winning football against Leo, what do you feel like that is?
Just committing to the daily expectations of being a Luers football player. It's the little things, getting here on time. It shouldn't be an issue once school starts tomorrow, but these are teenagers. Some of them don't have their own rides. It does happen, but making sure we're ready every day to get better. I really like, once again, if we can carry over what we did this summer and even elevate the intensity in which we do it. The sky's the limit for this team, but heading into week one against a strong physical Leo program, you got to have confidence, and you got to be disciplined. And the only way that we're going to compete or win a game like that is playing disciplined physical football. And once again, that just stems from what we do on a daily basis and our approach to what's expected of us daily.